First of all, what is meant by the term self-discipline? Secondly, how does it contrast with inspiration? Because I believe many people confuse these two concepts. To begin, I'd like to share a quote from the author, Samuel Thomas Davies, which I think neatly addresses both of your questions. Self-discipline entails pushing through adversity, acting despite negative emotions, and choosing to direct one's life rather than let it direct one. But the most essential part is behaving in accordance with your thoughts rather than your emotions. Discipline is the ability to do something regardless of how you feel, while motivation is the overall level of desire to do something. Everyone, including myself, has experienced the morning, "I don't feel like it" feeling at some point, so we can all appreciate the value of self-discipline now that we have it. That foundation you lay will serve you well in the long run, ensuring that you take steps in the direction of your goals regardless of your current level of motivation. With that in mind, let's talk about 6 crucial techniques for developing self-control. And we're going to start with one that isn't immediately obvious or doable. But bear with me, because this is a mental shift that has proven more effective than any other method of personal development I've tried in recent memory. Number 1. Personal transformation. Forget about the external result you're aiming for when trying to alter your behavior and concentrate on the internal shift you'd like to bring about instead. My introduction to this idea came from James Clear's excellent book, Atomic Habits. And there is a section near the beginning of the book that sums it up perfectly. Now I'll just read it to you. Just pretend that there are 2 people in this scenario, and they are both trying to avoid smoking. Saying, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit," in response to an offer of a cigarette may seem reasonable, but the first person in this scenario truly believes they are a smoker despite their best efforts to the contrary. They continue to believe the same things but hope that their behavior will alter. While the first person politely declines, the second says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker," a seemingly innocuous statement that nonetheless reveals something about the speaker's identity. They used to smoke, but that was a different time in their lives. As of now, they don't consider themselves smokers. Once you accept a new identity, you will naturally begin to exhibit behaviors that are consistent with that identity. We have a built-in tendency to repeat the outcomes of our previous choices. As soon as we make a decision or take a stance, we are subject to internal and external pressures to maintain that stance. As a result of these influences, we will act in ways that validate our original choice. Changing my outlook in this way has been extremely beneficial over the past few months. Number 2, always remind yourself of the underlying reasons for your punishment. If we want to do something regularly, we need to have a compelling reason for doing it. Also, whenever I consider this idea, I can't help but recall a story about the actor Jim Carrey. Once he got to Hollywood, he was still a struggling actor, so he took out a napkin and wrote himself a check for $10 million, with the date written 10 years in the future. He put the check in his wallet to serve as a constant reminder of his motivation to keep working hard. And it's possible you'll find the same thing to be true here. Try putting your aspiration or the person's name on paper. Put it somewhere you'll see it every day to remind yourself why you're working on developing self-discipline. Number 3, if you're feeling hesitant or resistant to doing something, try to embrace those feelings. This is a challenging and unpleasant task. Every time you push through your discomfort, you're doing a rep of the exercise that is self-discipline, just as going to a physical gym and lifting weights makes you better at lifting weights in the future and able to lift more weight the next time you go in. Since most people would rather avoid taking a cold shower altogether, this is why I advocate for them so strongly. The point is that you shouldn't try to warm up under that icy waterfall. By consistently choosing to take a cold shower instead of a hot one, you are training yourself to accept and even seek out challenges that present themselves, regardless of the nature of the task at hand. So, as you go about your daily life, look for opportunities to welcome pain. It could be anything from taking a brisk shower to getting up at 6 a.m. Take the stairs instead of the elevator for your ROTC exercise class. The basic idea is that every time your mind comes up with the "I don't feel like it" excuse, you have a chance to exercise your self-discipline muscle. Number 4, focus on the basics first. When I say basics, I'm referring to things like getting enough shut-eye, eating right, and staying active. It's important to pay attention to all of these because they involve executive functioning, which is a crucial part of your brain. The part of your brain that controls your desires and impulses needs a lot of energy and regular rest to function at peak levels. Keep in mind that at your core, you are a network of interconnected biological systems, each of which needs proper stimulation in order to perform optimally. And I get that it's tempting to think of the brain as existing in some sort of mystical realm where willpower, focus, and positive reinforcement memes are the only things it needs to function. On the other hand, similar to the rest of your body, your brain requires sleep, physical activity, and a well-balanced diet. If you haven't been getting enough sleep, you haven't been exercising consistently, and your diet is terrible. Those are the areas where you need to apply discipline first. Number 5, meditation. The practice of meditation has been shown in numerous scientific studies to enhance one's self-discipline, which is why you may wish to do this. In fact, a 2013 Stanford University study found that participants in a meditation program focused on cultivating compassion had greater success at self-controlling their emotions. This is essential for maintaining self-control and making sound judgments. But the type of meditation I've always done is Zazen meditation, where I just sit and focus on my breath while keeping my eyes closed. I think that's better for developing self-discipline in particular. And when my mind wanders, which it inevitably will, I make a conscious effort to recognize the distraction, release the thought, and return my focus to my breathing. As a result of consistent practice, I've noticed improvements in both self-control and focus. Number 6, put in the time to form new routines. To continue with what I was saying earlier, forming new habits is a distinct endeavor from the larger goal of altering one's behavior. But self-discipline is usually called for in the beginning stages of habit formation, when the behavior isn't yet automatic. A good habit is a great way to improve one's life in many ways. However, it's important to keep in mind that it takes time to form a habit, so it's best to take baby steps. In the meantime, I'll see you in the next video.